everybody, I'm Kyung and I make cakes. I decided to make some videos about it and I wasn't sure what kind of cakes I should make, but I do really like to make like character sketches. So I thought, well, that would be super fun to make some of these characters using edible materials. So I decided to start with this one. It's in the middle of summer in California, and so I decided to try using ganache to cover the cake with. I usually use Swiss meringue buttercream, but I think it will be too soft to use. So I'm gonna try ganache because I heard that it firms up quickly and stays that way, so I'm gonna give it a try. I don't know how it's gonna go, but we will see. At the end of this video, I'm going to make a little animation using my cake. I'll start super simple, I think. If you have any questions, you can always just ask me in the comments. And at the end of the video too, I plan on letting you know what I learned, what I did right, what I did wrong. So hopefully it'll be a lot of fun. All right, enough talking. Let's get to making some cake. So what's the trick? Just drill a hole through the acrylic rod, put a skewer in it, and then the platform can rest on it. So I'm just taking some melted marshmallow and I'm just going to spread it on my structure so that when I put the rice cereal treats on, it will stick. It's pretty gooey. I just got a little vegetable shortening on my hands so that this doesn't stick to them as I form my rice cereal treat cloud. So I'm just compressing the Rice Krispie treat so that it sticks to the bottom of this wooden platform. And I want him to have a little bit of a rounded underbelly. I don't want him to look flat, and also this is where his legs are going to be. So his one little leg is going to be on the pole, so it needs marshmallow to stick it to the acrylic pole. Keep in mind, you can always refine this with a knife once we get it on there, and also with the ganache when we frost over it. You can round out shapes and things like that. But you do want to compress it to try to get some of the lumps and bumps out so that you have a smoother finish. Now you can take this plastic roller and you can go over the surface of your rice cereal treats just to break it up and get rid of those really sharp edges of the treats. Just smooth it out. I have a serrated knife here and I'm just going to use it to cut away some of the creases that I want in the cloud. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that shape, so I'm going to clean up and go make some ganache. So we are going to let him sit up in the fridge a little bit, and then I'll be able to come back and smooth him out. This is a really great tool to have. It's just a straight blade, but it's flexible and super sharp, and so you can get curved cuts and things like this for when you're making things out of fondant or modeling chocolate. I'm gonna put on a pair of gloves and I'm just gonna smooth them out with my hands. The gloves just help a little in the smoothing process. I also just really don't like the feeling of this on my hands. So I like to wear the gloves, but you know, your hands are your best tools and you just start with really clean hands. For this cake, it's not so important because no one's really gonna eat this cake. It's basically just to show you all these different techniques and for me to create something fun. So if it helps you, if you're finding that your ganache is catching a little bit, you can just dip your fingers in a little bit of water. This would be a lot easier if I were in like a 60-degree room, but I am not in a 60-degree room. It's a little bit warm in here, and that's okay. It's just making me work a little harder. Okay, so I like his little shape from the side. Got a little bum. Boop, boop. I have to step away because I will do this forever. So, okay, so now I'm just gonna put him in the fridge for just a little while I clean up and get ready to cover him and his little cloud in fondant. This is just water that I'm taking to dip my finger in, and I'm putting it over the crease in the fondant where the cut was. And the reason is I'm just softening it and making it sort of melt. Water will make fondant melt. You just rub a little water over it and let it sit for a second. What you can do, I have this little tool here. Grab a little and push it over the seam. And you can make the seam start to disappear. So then you can just take your finger, sort of rub it out. Next, you're going to take some cornstarch. I just put a little on my mat. That is because with a little bit of this fondant, I'm going to buff out some of these lumps. And the cornstarch just helps it sort of glide. Now for where it's sticky, you're going to have to put a little extra cornstarch in that area so that the fondant buffer can glide over that area a little better. about cake decorating is sometimes you have to be patient to let things dry, and it makes your life a whole lot easier if you just let things dry. However, I am not always patient, and since this is just a project for myself, I'm not being patient. Instead, I just jammed a skewer in his arm, try to make it more stable. So let's see if and it looks like it worked. So I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out, but you know, I did learn a couple things. Like I said, it's my first time using ganache, and it actually turned out to be a really good decision because it's so hot, like I said, in my room. But I couldn't turn the AC on because it made too much noise for filming, so I had to just work in a warm room. Having the ganache just made it so much easier than buttercream because buttercream would have been way too soft. And the ganache, it chilled up a little faster in the fridge and also stayed chilled longer. So I was able to actually cover the cake in fondant, which would have been impossible in buttercream. So that was good, but I don't think I whipped it enough. It was a little too stiff and a little hard to spread on the cake. My cake got to room temperature pretty fast. And so it was a little difficult spreading, but I just plugged away and eventually got it there. That was a good lesson to learn. So if you decide to use ganache, I would say make sure it's at the right consistency, about like peanut butter, like the recipe says, which I will include in the link in my description. So it turned out right, and I don't know, I guess I'm supposed to say like this video and subscribe to my channel so I can keep making more cakes and showing you the process. Anyway, thanks for hanging out while I made my cake, and I will see you next time.